Okay, so we're here. This is our next installment of the West End Zone podcast. We're streaming every Wednesday night on YouTube. It'll be later posted on other, platforms, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, and so forth. So, for this next installment, I have a very special guest. We're going to be talking about stopping Clemson. I've got a guy who has the historical uh, encyclopedia on Miami Hurricanes football. Got a great perspective. I can vouch for my my own, I guess, keenness on football and things of that nature comes is a direct result of Al. And I'd like to introduce Al.
Good evening. Glad to be with you today here talking Hurricane football. Obviously, exciting game this week against a team that's dominated the ACC for a long time. Maybe having an off year this year, but always a good team. And looking forward to the game and looking forward to how we beat them.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny, Clemson's kind of, like you said, had a stranglehold over the program, or sorry, over the ACC and of our program. I mean, I was looking up a stat that was kind of telling the Canes haven't beaten Clemson at home since, get this, 1956. So go figure.
Well, that's older than what I am, so that's a long time. All I can say is right now is this is going to be an exciting game. I would hope and pray that the Hot Rock Stadium is rolling that night. We got a really good crowd and our team gets really jacked up. Um, really want to go over the keys of what I believe to be how we stop Clemson's offense. I think it's the key of the game, and just want to look at that and see how we do it.
Okay, so like let's talk about that. I mean, what in terms of the Canes defense, what do the Canes have to do to keep Clemson's offense on check?
Well, you saw North Carolina what they did. Their offensive coordinator very intelligently, and we didn't adjust in the second half, which was very disappointing. It was really call a play, run a play within seconds of each other. Our defense, that basically all year long has been living with the D line stunting at the last second, kind of throwing off their offensive line and plugging up holes. We were on our heels the entire second half, and they were running the ball. I mean, we gave up more yardage to UNC in one game that we've given up in three games to three teams. It was a beatdown on the offensive line, and I believe that we need to make the adjustment. The key of the game, in my opinion, is going to be the D line and how we adjust, because Clemson's going to be looking at that UNC film and saying, "Hey, this is a great game plan."
Yeah, I think you're right in saying that Clemson's pace is really a good way to stop Miami doing from what you were talking about stemming. That it's a term called stemming where the defensive line will line up in a certain front, last second shift into a completely different front. When they're going fast, you really can't even do that because you're struggling just to get lined up, right?
Correct. And I believe, I don't have a football background in terms of coaching, but what I've seen is what you do is you basically at the moment you go up to the line, right? You get in your stance, and then once the offensive line gets in position, you at the last split second you make your move. Um, Hopefully they'll make the adjustments. I believe that Clemson is going to try to run the ball on us. If they're successful running the ball, it's going to be a long night for us because they're going to be pounding us all night long. And I think that's the key to the game.
Yeah, that's probably the worst way to lose the game, right? To be playing defense and just to know that you can't stop the run. I mean, that's just like a slow death. And then then it also opens up the deep play action game. Obviously, Cade Klubnik, former five-star recruit, all-world guy, maybe hasn't had the production that his star rating has suggested, but this is a guy that's capable, has good receivers, and like you said, if they're running the ball on you, it kind of opens up everything else.
I think that the coaches understand that. I would hope so. the adjustments will be made, and I'm looking for the really to plug up the holes, force them to throw passes, and hopefully, we get them in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and we kind of convert on those and maybe pick off a couple passes or get a couple breaks. I think the game will come down to whoever doesn't turn over the ball, and I think that's going to be the key to the game.
Turnovers, man. You mentioned something as simple. Something that should be as goes unspoken or should be unspoken. Turnovers, and then you think about the number of turnovers, the amount of stressful situations we were forced to be in last game, just because the offense just blunders, absolute blunders. The last two games, really. It's. I mean, you have to admit that puts a lot of stress on the defense as well.
Right, and I think that Van Dyke has been forcing throws, and I think that's an issue. I think he needs to be, if the play's not there, throw it away. No force, against Georgia Tech, we were down there in the red zone multiple times, and he threw interceptions. Could have been 3 points. We could have been clearly ahead in that game, and that fumble at the end wouldn't have mattered. But
Yeah.
we weren't, and it was blunder. I was under the impression we had 8 turnovers in the last 2 games, and the other day I heard 9, and I go, wow, if that's really the case,
Yep.
9 in 2 games, that is a lack of discipline. I get it, if it's raining or it's bad weather, you're going to see fumbles and that, but, there's no excuse for that. I think that the offensive coordinator needs to really emphasize taking care of the ball. I think that was one of the key stamps of Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson was like, every day, protect the ball, protect the ball, protect the ball. He knew that was the key to winning games. If you were good enough and you protected the ball, the odds are you're going to have a chance to win that game.
Yeah, and just to kind of like wrap it up here, to like tie in the last 2 weeks and what you just said, Jimmy Johnson, right? Who is Jimmy Johnson, right? He's like the ultimate psychologist, social engineer. He knew how to get everything out of his players, knew how to get his guys playing at the maximum level. I think that's what this team lacks. I think this team lacks some voice or something that gets our guys performing, at top level and performing smart. It just, last or Georgia Tech game, lose a game where you outgain the opponent double. You shut them down on defense, give them points, give them turnovers, and then last week have the opportunity to beat a team that just became a national championship, contender. I mean, if you look at the rest of their schedule, they got no one left. So they're probably going to make it to the ACC championship game. They beat Florida State, and they're going to the playoff. And so you have a chance to beat that team. You're up at halftime, should be up by 14. That momentum swing doesn't really happen probably, and then you're talking about a whole different season just because of stupidity. So I think the biggest thing we got to do is be smarter.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And then just a quick note ending. If you look at the film of that game in the first half versus the second half, you can tell that UNC was selecting when they would go on a quick snap versus not going in a quick snap in the first half, and in the second half, what they saw when they went on a quick snap in the first half was very successful. They went in the second half quick snap every single play.
Yep, and especially after turnovers, which was killer. Got our guys tired at the end of the third quarter. Looked like our guys quit. I think they were just tired. Yeah,
I agree.
Okay, guys. Well, that wraps up our latest.
Go Canes.
Yeah, go Canes indeed. That wraps up our latest installment of the West End Zone podcast with Al, aka the Machine. Thank you for your insight.
Cool. Out.